Okay.
Okay, I am getting it back up. Sorry, yeah, I got disconnected or something. Then I said hello to you guys and didn't come back up. It looks green now, so tell me if it's reload the thing, see if it's back up. Live. It says live.
25 minutes.
Yeah, it's back.
Okay, sorry about
Excellent. All right. Sorry about that, everyone. We are back now. Will you write 25 minutes? Thank you. Cool.
Oh, my arm. There we go. You're welcome.
I'm going to go ahead and edit that out of the audio version later so you need to know where it was. All right. We are back. Sorry about that, everyone. Had a little bit of a disconnect. For those who don't know, where we're talking about is the worst Battlemaster tournament ever to be released. So, Lightning Tornado was a thing. Deltia.
Wow.
Talk about that.
Wow, guess you complain enough. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. So this is my build, and it's from 2 months ago. Boy, have the times changed. The original concept was good, and I improved a lot on this because, like, some of my abilities, I'm pulling it up here. So the original build, I had Crit Surge, Boundless Storm, Steel Tornado, Shrouded Daggers. I had Crystal Frags, and I did a 2.0 version where I exchanged Crystal Frags out for Streak, just because Streak's too powerful not to have on your first bar. And the problem with this build is it's really cost non-effective, meaning you're having to use a lot of magic and a lot of stamina. So to be really good at this, you have to have a class or a race that you pick that is viable using one resource heavily. So like what I mean is get a race like a high elf that generates tons of magic, and then offset your stamina with stamina rings and glyphs and that sort of thing. Or you could go Red Guard and do it the other way around. But the downside of the build is what I found out. It's really hard resource management. It's not easy to play. It really isn't. But it's one of the more fun things to play. Are you going to bring in this to Trials? Probably not. But you could bring this into Dragonstar because of the blink and the area damage. So I like that. And then after personally playing the Sork for a long time, I prefer using the two-hander, to be completely honest, with the Velvet Hammer build that I did, because you have a guaranteed crit, so you're guaranteeing self-heals versus randomly trying. And then also, once you get down to one enemy, it's much, much harder to be effective. You need more enemies to be around to be effective. So those are the downsides. The upsides, it has a lot of speed, has a lot of armor, and it's a lot of fun. But I can really see that I've learned more about the game now, and like I look at my bars, I'm like, retreating maneuvers, really? That's your second? I'm like, oh man. So it comes to show we all learn as we go. And but I'm honestly so excited they featured one of my builds. I mean, this was one of my, I don't know, I should say least good build or whatever you want to call it, but I got so much feedback and people checking the side and, you know, some negative feedback too, but that's okay. And yeah, I was super excited for this. I was like a little schoolgirl. Like someone tweeted me like, Deltia, they got your guide up. And they didn't even tell me they were going to do it. I'm like, what? Like screaming.
That was me, good
like,
sir.
Yeah, you. Right? Calling my mom. Mom, guess what? They featured my guy on Elder Scrolls. Mom has no idea what that is. You know, so it meant a lot, though. It really did. A lot of people gave me good props, and it made me realize that, you know, people are listening, and this community matters, and people care about each other, and this is what we do for fun. You know what I mean? And I love it. So that's my rant on the Battlemaster.
Nice.
You know what's sad is that my mum would have known what I meant.
Mine
As she is
would've
now
too.
veteran rank 4.
Your mom's VR4?
Oh yeah, VR4 Templar.
Oh, Templar. We're going to have a talk with old mom.
Oh, sorry, I lied. VR5 now.
Is it sad that his mom is higher level than I am?
Yes. No, the word, it's not sad. It's tragic.
Yeah.
That's her fault as well.
Wow. I'm just going to try to save a little bit of face here with saying that I probably have more hours in than most people. I just talk to everybody.
Are we going to do a slash play? We can do a slash play.
I'll do a slash play.
All right.
I'll do a slash play. We'll do this
I'm
after.
pretty sure Ag would win. Deltia, I'm sorry.
I don't
What?
know. Deltia might beat me here, but he has multiple characters. But I think somebody of an average level, like I wish I had someone that was like VR3 like I am, will do a slash play, see who has more hours in. because I talk to everybody. Even people don't have quests because I just like the world. So that's why I love
You're-
it.
5 days.
You're chatty in and out of video games.
I know, right? All right, so that was the Battlemaster corner. Just want to say congratulations, Deltia. I know we were really hoping you'd get on there pretty soon. That's really excited. 'Cause as soon as I got it, I know I tweeted right away. I'm like, Deltia! Oh my goodness!
Mom, look what I know. That's great, honey. That's great. No idea.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was really great.
Yeah.
In chat, Mistress LeBeau is VR3, so we can do it against her.
Oh, okay.
So you can-
She's calling it. We're gonna have to do a slash play. So, Mr. Slebo, you're gonna have to do a slash play. Let us know how many hours you got, and we'll do one as well and see who has more. I'm gonna feel really bad if I have less than her, like really bad. Like that's just gonna be terrible. All right, we're going to move on to the next little bit, and I'm not going to actually read through this, but I found this and I thought it was kind of interesting. I'm going to link it here in chat right now for people. But Dolphy, if no one knows who that is, they're a website group that does a bunch of different guides for a whole bunch of different games.
Go to Deltia's
and-
Gaming first.
Oh, yeah. Now, do not go here for the guides. Go to Deltia's Gaming first. But you can go here for this interview, and they had an interview with a voice actor, Raphael Corkhill, and he's a voice actor who did several of the voices in ESO, and it's a fun little read. He did the voices for the Ghost Snake in Deshawn, and several of the Bosmer and Dunmer NPCs, and a few other characters that he named, Glenier, Piras,
Several,
yeah, and
Edelhorn.
yeah, I don't know any of those people. I haven't run across them yet. But he did all the voices. So if you're interested in actually reading it, it's interesting. It's just it's an interview, kind of like a shameless plug. Deltia does Interview with a Gamer interviews. It's sort of something like that, where they just kind of go on and talk about what he has done and how he got into it. It was an interesting read, but other than what he did in ESO, it has very little to do with ESO, but I felt like highlighting it anyway. All right, the next bit of news, another community program, the Guild Spotlight. We could probably skip it, because it's for, what is that, Reddithium?
Is it another crazy Russian guild or something? Or?
No, it's
No,
the Reddit Guild.
Even worse.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, sorry guys, I'd like to talk about you, but you're Reddit.
Wow. Well, I can no longer say bad things about the Russian guild because I'm trying to learn, not Russian, German, because I'm trying to learn German. I only know one sentence so far.
Okay.
All right. Well, yay.
I just felt like saying it because they were talking about German. It was interesting.
Is it a swear word?
Well, this is a
Sentence
European
rather.
guild, so there might
Is
be
it
some
about
German
butts?
pieces
It
in there.
works.
Right. Well, there is a Reddit guild for ESO, which I guess is a good thing. I guess
a
more
good
players playing, but I mean Reddit.
Right.
So I've been in many different games that have had Reddit guilds, and Reddit guilds,
They're like
I'm
the
going to be very
trolls, right?
frank, yeah, are trolls and full of pretty much the worst people in existence. Now, that's not everyone, not generalizing, but
That's generalizing.
Yeah, pretty
I
generalizing.
guess that is generalizing, isn't it?
That's exactly what generalizing
No
is.
offense.
I was trying not to, but yeah, you're right. Individual people may be okay, but as a whole, Reddit guilds are like a blight on gaming. They're almost as bad as 4chan. I'm not gonna say there they is 4chan. All right, so Mr. Slavo has come back. She is 15 days, 45 minutes, 54 seconds.
That's pretty good. She's played a lot.
Yeah. And now I almost want to just... I'm going to have to get to a point where someone else can talk and I can hop on and figure out...
Well, I can talk and tell stories all day.
Well, we'll get to that point and I'll hop on and let everyone know what my time was after that. All right. Does anyone have anything they want to say about the Reddit Guild before we move?
I do want to say one thing real quick. I know this isn't the right place to do it, but I want to get it out before I forget. If you guys want to do interview with the gamer, I'm looking for more people to talk with. You don't have to run a blog or do anything fancy. Just be a gamer and want to talk and learn from each other. So that's something like you want to do, just email me, send me a message in game. Takes about 15 minutes. I ask you questions and just kind of to get to know different people, why they game. That's it.
Excellent. All right, cool. Oh, no, we don't want to close that yet. All right. And the final thing we need to talk about is another Adventurer's Handbook. This is one of their bi-weekly, I guess, community events again. This week, with Update 4 being unleashed on Tamriel, bringing some exciting new adventures along with it. If you've just come back to ESO to see what's new, or if you just want to find all those Upper Craglorn Sky Shards, today's issue is just for you. All of the resources we link in the Adventurer's Handbook are created by awesome fans like you, and we'd love to see even more. First up, the Elder Scrolls Online Reddit maintains a detailed, well-organized, and updated guide to everything new in ESO. The link is on the page. It is reddit.com/r/elderscrollsonline/wiki/returning. So if you've taken a break from the game and want to know all about the changes and new content that came up since you last played, it's the perfect guide for you. There is even a list of features that will be released in the future. Next up, if you have a quick question but not sure where to ask it, Tamriel Foundry, which I do support wholeheartedly, has a great simple questions, simple answers thread on their forum. So head on over to tamrielfoundry.com where you can find what you're looking for from their helpful community. So definitely check it out. If you have questions about the game, you can go there for answers. And the Tamriel Foundry community is a great place to go. Finally, TSO Life has posted a map of all locations in Upper Craglorn that contains sky shards. So you can jump on out, grab those shards, and get new skills, which are awesome. So there we go. Oh, and they do have a little note. Don't forget to bring some friends. Upper Craglorn is quite dangerous for lone travelers. There you go. All right. Anyone have anything else they want to say about the Adventurer's Handbook before we move on? No? Anyone?
Nope.
No? Okay. Definitely, I do actually, this is probably one of my favorite community programs they have because I think it has probably the biggest impact on the community, like that's helpful. Not saying Battlemaster Corner isn't, because it can give you ideas, but a lot of people like to, just do what they're doing, or they have their own idea in their head. This is something that is really neat that just points out guides, which, by the way, could probably feature some of Deltia's.
They have actually.
Oh, they have on here?
Yeah, they have. Last week they posted like 4 of them on there. See, what I was doing, I realized why I wasn't getting featured. I was sending them from my personal email, so they were just like, who's this nut? And then I started sending them from my actual deltiasgaming.com thing, and then bang, I posted it right away. So I think that's what I was doing wrong.
Throwing your weight around.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an internet celebrity, right? I mean, come on, I'm a big deal.
I think I'm going to have to start
Get that your
sending
VIP badge.
Nice. I'm going to start sending stuff from podcast at Tales of Tamriel just all the time. That's what I'm
I
gonna
can't
do.
say any... now all my guildies, and anytime I write a suggestion or tell them a suggestion, their first response is, oh, you're going to go write a guide about it? Like...
Nice.
Yeah, that's fun.
And then you do.
And then I do.
And then I do.
And then they make fun of me about it. Yep.
It happens. All right, that's going to end our game news section. We're going to move into a Elder Scrolls discussion topic. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to link this in the chat, and I'll also make sure it's available in the RSS feed in the notes so people can see it. But there was an interesting little thing I found on Reddit, surprisingly, because I do go to Reddit. I wade through the crap so you guys don't have to. They were digging around and found a whole bunch of add-on API commands for the new 1.4.x. And some of these contain new functions, constraints, and user data pertaining to something very interesting. Voice chat, for instance, gamepad underscore voice chat underscore channels underscore fragment. Now, that might not mean a lot to anyone who doesn't do programming, but it seems like the API is giving us options for a type of voice chat program. Now, this is, again, with gamepad as well. I'm assuming this is going to be with consoles. Now, this lends us to believe there might be a little bit of a rumor going on that Elder Scrolls Online may try to integrate itself with the built-in voice chat features of the Xbone and PS4. Yes, I did say Xbone.
It deserves it.
It does. First off, before we really get into too much details, I'm going to say this. Please take this entire conversation with a grain of salt. This is merely speculation, but it was something interesting that I had found. We are in no way confirming nor denying that ZOS is planning on implementing voice chat into the Elder Scrolls Online. All right, now that the legal jargon's done, that way no one comes back and goes, Tales of Tamriel told us that they were going to have voice chat. Let's go ahead and talk about this for a little bit. Let's start with Asteldian. What do you think about implementing voice chat into ESO, like through in-game systems?
Well, it's mostly redundant for the more hardcore players. I have seen it be useful for some, so I've got nothing against it, because sometimes more casual people don't necessarily have the team speaks or anything like that. They're not comfortable with it, but they're in a group and suddenly they want to at least hear what's going on, so you can turn on the voice chat and hear people telling you, oh, do this for this boss or that boss if you're in a pug or whatever. You don't necessarily want to join a bunch of strangers on TeamSpeak, but having the voice chat can be a very easy way of at least hearing instructions being called out by someone who wants to use it. So I got no problem with it. I think it's quite a good idea, even though it won't be used by most people. I mean, I personally don't use TeamSpeak or Mumble or anything. I use good old-fashioned Skype for my dungeoning and raids. So,
Well,
is it?
Yeah, that's fine if you have a good connection. I'm going to say this right off the bat. Skype's not bad for that, but it has much higher throughput. That's why a lot of people do use TeamSpeak and Vent and Mumble, because they have a lot less strain on your network. Which maybe if you have good internet, no one cares, but us, I would die. Deltia, how about you? What do you think about the idea of implementing voice chat into ESO specifically for consoles using the in-game system or the console systems?
Well, I don't see the point. What does this even matter? Everyone already has a way to do this. Like, I don't understand why this would even be done. I mean, if it's just for consoles only, that's a huge thing, because they need to talk just like we do, but I don't know. You tell me, what's the point of it?
Well, first off, I did manage to get in game, and I am at 18 days, 3 hours, 13 minutes, and 8 seconds. So I beat Liz. Yay! I think.
Yes.
I did. Good. All right. I feel better now.
But you are not even close to beating Asteldians.
I know. It's a shame. Here's what I think about this particular... Actually, before I do that, Lisa, why don't you tell us? Do you have any thoughts on this at all?
For the console?
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea. Because it's really hard for console players to be able to have an effective way to chat. Because I know that if I'm playing Final Fantasy, the console players can play with the PC players, which means that if they need to use Vent or something, they need to use their phones. And it makes it really difficult for them because they can't really push the talk button, and they're playing with a controller, and they can't really type because of the controller, and it's difficult. So if they want to do this for the console, why not? It might help the console players. Just don't do it for the PC players, because we definitely don't need it. There are much better venues. As soon as Asteldian said he used Skype, I went, oh, that's gross. Because Skype is just horrible to use for that, in my opinion.
We like the freeload. Everyone on none of this push-to-talk nonsense. You hear everything your mates are doing. All the cursing, the screaming. It's chaotic, but it's a lot of fun.
See, I don't want that. I make funny, noises, and that's only for me to hear, not my readers.
That's half the fun. Farts, burps, coughs, everything's heard. Nothing sacred.
Wow, indeed. Okay. Now I'll say what I'm thinking about. The only game that I knew that implemented this, there may be others, World of Warcraft tried this. They were specifically aiming towards Battleground, just random when people jump into Battlegrounds. And again, this was a PC game, so judging from that, no one used it because most people do have other avenues of getting into the game. And not only that, but they don't want a bunch of trolls and stuff infesting their voice chat, because, I mean, let's has anyone played Call of Duty recently? Like, because they have open voice chat when you play the game. Or
That's a treat right there.
oh yeah, I mean, I don't even play the game. I just kind of log in and then just turn the speakers up and just sit back and just listen.
My worst one isn't Call of Duty, it's CSS. That for me is just
Yeah,
a nightmare.
A lot of first-person shooters have that open voice chat. Once you're in the game, you can talk to all the people. And it is just a breeding... It is like the Reddit of voice chat. It's a cesspool.
Yeah, that's FPSs though. You are hitting the scummiest of civilization down there.
I
Down
do agree
there.
that FPSs
Down
do
there.
have a type of player that...
Can we lump PvPers into that category?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
well, that's what I mean. It's PvP meatheads to the extreme. It's just a whole new level.
I love it.
Unfortunately, here's the problem. MMOs, because they attract so many amount of people, we get our fair share of those PvP
Yeah,
meatheads.
I'm playing-
They're
I'm
not
playing.
even just the PvP meatheads. I'm going to say this again. Has anyone ever seen the Onyxia 25 fight or whatever, the Onyxia 60 fight? Someone did a video of somebody raid leading, and
Yeah.
and he was just flipping out when someone messed up. That's the type of people you get. Like, and those are the type of people who like to go into voice chat programs. I think their resources would be better spent elsewhere. I really do. I don't think it's that great of an idea to keep. So yeah. I guess with that being said, does anyone else have anything else they want to talk about this? Actually, I do have one more thing before we finish off. Someone had a really neat idea of proximity chat. So if you were in-game and they did implement this, how would you guys feel about proximity chat? Like, when you're within a certain area, like, let's just say you enter Davin's watch, as soon as you hit that area, your voice comm is open to everyone in Davis watch, and you can hear all of them talking.
Well, the thing is, I don't think chat is the problem here. It's grouping is the problem. Like, the queue or the system to group up and finish stuff is either one, to sit in one queue that does one only thing, or just scream and zone and get some meatball. There needs to be a way to queue and group like other games where it's so much more intuitive than it is in this one. Like, I don't want to chat with people I'm running pugs with. I really don't. I don't want to get to know them. I just want to complete the mission and move on. But if there's a way to get in the group easier, let's do that. I'd much rather have that than just talking systems. I think it'd be much easier to implement.
I could see that. I'm of the same idea. Like, the people I like to get to know are, like you guys, the friends that we have that we like to play games with. When I'm doing a pug, it's literally just because I have no other option. If I had any other option, I would take it. Because you're rolling the dice, you're playing Russian roulette whenever you pick up a pug, just going, click. Oh, I got a good player. More often than not, they load 5 bullets into a revolver.
That's intense.
Well,
I'm
it is.
completely opposite to you guys. I disagree totally.
You disagree? You like pugging?
I like pugging too. I'm
oh
gonna
my
this
God.
one.
Yeah. Usually when my guilds grow, because we don't do any open recruitment, we usually get our guildies from pugs, because the wife and I will queue up. We've got the tank, the healer. Frankly, we could probably do most of the dungeon on our own anyway, so it doesn't matter if they're crap or good. So we just get them to join in. We know we're going to compete it no matter what. But then you actually chat with them, and sometimes you get people who think, oh, this is a decent guy. And you get to know them. You run a few dungeons with them. And then before you know it, they're now a regular, they're now in your guild, or they're on your friends list. That's the main way to do it. Much better way to get that for your guildies than just do random shout-outs for strangers to turn up.
Well, that's a great way to recruit. That's what I do too. I never just say hard contact recruiting, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But I mean, what I'm saying, pugging is like, what I would do is if I could get a way to queue up. We queue up. We had a successful run. Everyone got along really well. Hey, what are you guys doing tomorrow? Do you want to try to run this again? Yep. That's how good groups are formed up. It's not an accident. But right now, what way is there to do that? 1, veteran dungeons. That's it. There's no upper Craghorn queue. There's no, I mean, the PvP queue is okay, but there's no other easy way to click 2 buttons and get in a group. That's the problem.
Yeah, see, and I agree with you guys, because I have met quite a few friends from just randomly pugging and going, hey, you guys are pretty cool. But unfortunately, maybe I'm just jaded, Deltia, we're just jaded. the 99% of the people that we find aren't great people, and I don't want to have to deal with them. And I guess that's, personality defect on my side, but it's one of those things from years of having to put up with the crud that you get from pugging that I just don't want to deal with it any longer.
I've had to put up with it for years, and I could make friends with any pug. Doesn't matter.
You are nicer than me then, because I can't do it. Like, I really can't.
That's half the fun, just sitting there cursing at this lousy piece of crap who's in your group. Thinking, how did you get this high? What are you doing here?
Yeah, I normally follow that up. So how much did you pay on eBay for your account?
Wow.
Nice. All right. Well, seems like we're a little mixed on this topic. Some of us are like, okay, some of us are not. So
you did mention the proximity thing, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
That I don't know. No, definitely not.
I think it'd be neat if you, well, of course, everything is the option of turning it off, but again, that's just I can see somebody doing the Dumb and Dumber thing. You want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? They just sit near the bank, and that's all they do. So as soon as you walk into the bank, all you hear is the Dumb and Dumber guy doing, the most annoying sound. That's what you get from this.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's not everybody, but that one person is enough to turn people off saying, I'm just disabling it forever, I mean, how many people in this game who are Elder Scrolls purists who, now you're an MMO person, not an Elder Scrolls purist. Nice try. You just play your games bad.
Whoa! Whoa! You're just a bad.
Wow.
I love you.
No, that.
I love you.
I'm gonna move to the other side of the room.
All right. Well, it's still a matter of. My goodness, that burn was. It burned all thought out of my head too. What was I saying prior to this?
Oh, something about Elder Scrolls purists.
Oh, the Elder Scrolls purists who, when they first hopped into the MMO, what was the first? As soon as they saw somebody complaining in zone chat, they turned off their chat. And they probably never went back.
Oh, the Elder Scrolls Nazis. Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as you hear, it's enough that people aren't going to give it a chance. As soon as they hear that one person who is just a complete, D-bag, they're going to turn it off and never look back. So, in all honesty, it's wasted research time and development time on their side to do this. Because at best, 10% of the population will use it.
Well, who wants this? I mean, who wants this? I mean, get guild names and nameplates above our heads. Every other MMO has that. Come on. It's 2014. Get a guild calendar. It's 2014.
This is every other MMO.
Good point.
It's not every other MMO.
There's some basic features missing that you can. It's an MMO, massive multiplayer online. It's supposed to be Elder Scrolls with buddies. Make it easy to play with friends.
See, I don't have a problem playing with friends.
A lot of basics missing.
House and look at who people are.
It's still...
But try being VR14 running Dragonstar. It's different.
Yeah.
How many people are at VR14 have good gear and you can do the end-game content? 1%?
How many times did we use the raid calendar in Warcraft where we just set up a thing and invited people going, hey, Thursday, we're trying this. So when people logged in, they looked, oh, look, I have a notification. Oh, we're doing this.
No, that would be pretty neat.
That's...
I would have...
And it doesn't have to be, Christmas or whatever. It could be the Elder Scrolls has an awesome lore and calendar, the morning of Thanos or whatever. I mean, make the holidays and stuff like that on the calendar. It'd be a huge part of the game.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that stuff, even if they
Deltia,
don't take...
I'm on board.
All right, you won her over. Woo!
Pause the show. It's celebration.
I'm going to say, we already had her defend Deltia, and now she's agreeing. We're just going to end the show right now.
Yes, I'm going to mark that out on the guild calendar.
Yeah, mark that on the guild calendar. Nice. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on from that discussion topic. It is time for our Tales of Tamriel, which is our personal story time in the Elder Scrolls Online. And as per our custom, our guest will have to go first, so go ahead, correct me on how to say his name.
Asteldian.
Okay, Asteldian. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Don't call
I
him
know, I
ass.
just emphasized the ass part.
Okay.
All right. Just kidding, buddy. Love you. Your turn. Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing in ESO this week.
Oh, what have I been doing? To be honest, I've been mostly in PvP land. funny enough, 1.4 comes out, and instead of actually getting on with getting ranks 13 and 14 and doing the Dragon Star, I've spent evening after evening running around like a headless chicken in the PvP world. So I've been tinking with builds for that. That's been a lot of fun, taking a few guildies in there, getting ourselves killed a lot. My pleasure was earlier in the week killing an Emperor, and surprise, surprise, he's a Dragon Knight vampire. So that was a brutal fight.
No way. Was he using a staff too?
And a dress. And it was an absolute pleasure killing him. I got the killing blow, so I got the achievement for the assassination of the Slayer of the Emperor. So that was my big achievement of the week.
I'm still baffled. That is like the most unique build. You never see that.
Yeah, never.
Stays online.
Never.
I wouldn't believe what race he was either.
A Nord.
No way was he a Dunmer.
Dunmer.
No, I couldn't see that coming.
No one uses that.
You couldn't have been more stereotyped if you tried. Miss Captain Generic.
Nice. All right.
But he's dead now.
You have anything else you want to talk about? I didn't mean to interrupt you. Just had to be baffled at the originality he had.
Yeah, no, so I've just reached veteran rank 13, so I've just put some new gear I want to tinker with for the PvP land, to put a bit more magicka going, because I'm a bit too stamina focused, because I'm just lazy, so I just use my PvE gear and go straight in. So I'm finally trying to step up and customize it. As I say, PvP is my interest at the moment for some strange reason. I'm quite addicted to it. But otherwise, that's probably it.
You know what? That's a perfect segue into Deltia, so PvP land.
Okay, so you know how long my rants are going to be based on how deep of a breath I take. Ready? Okay. First off, we'll kind of work in backwards order. Speaking of PvP, myself and ESOTR Guild Akatosh hosted a training ground thing last night. So for people who are afraid or don't want to go in there, don't know how to do it, never set foot in, we set the very basics. Took a group of 24 to 30 people and did the starter crest where you get the skill points. We explained everything. And we're planning on doing recurring events like this for people. And we actually took a keep. We took an Elder Scroll. It was a blast. And we went into a low pop campaign. That way we weren't getting nuked every 5 seconds. And a lot of people had fun and learned. And so, PvP is hard for people to get into at first because you die. You don't know what's going on. There's a learning curve, that you have to pay your taxes, so to speak, in Gamerland. You got to lose for a while before you start winning. So this is a soft, comfortable way to get people into it. Next time we're going to go do some hardcore stuff. But I will say this has been the best week in Elder Scrolls of my life, for sure. It may be in gamer history for me. Oh man, it started out with that post in the Battlemaster corner. The site blew up. People kept sending me stuff in and out of game. I got a donation basically to pay my site for a year. Someone was so happy. Yeah, so the site's going to be paid up for. I'm going to be doing it for, the foreseeable future. A lot of my time got freed up, so now I'm doing a lot more guides. I'm trying to put out something once a day, whether it's a guide or written thing or whatnot. I got a couple more authors. A lot of people are looking for PvP specific stuff, so I got Party Pyro is going to be doing that. He already released the first initial one. Then I have another guy, Nines, who has really good experience writing guides. He's going to be doing crafting in detail. So that'll free up a lot of my time to kind of still go over character builds, get everyone to VR14, and really focus on the endgame hardcore stuff. So what I've been doing in game is basically just farming to get to VR14. I was one of the first people in the world to get it. And then I sat around twiddling my thumbs for a week because no one else, got there. I did the grind, the thief grind. For anyone who hasn't done it, you kill the same boss over and over every 20 seconds for 5 hours. Ridiculous boring, but ridiculous effective. Got there, and then some other buddies got up there. We did the Upper Craglorn, did almost all the quests. We all did some Dragonstar Arena. That was a blast. I am utterly impressed with the Craglorn stuff. Like, we go up there, and we're like, okay, it was a Skyhook or something, hold. So we look, we're like, that looks fun. Let's go try doing that. 2 hours later, we complete the quest. It was like running a veteran dungeon on steroids. And it was our first time, so we were gooking and gawking for a while and stuff. But I was just dumbfounded at the quality of the level design. It's not your normal little dinky round delve or anything where it's just one big circle. It is impressive. They really did a good job questing. The downside is you really do need 4 players or like 3 of your standard archetypes. You can't just go in there and nuke everything, which is good and bad of itself. So that's what I've been doing all week, making some guides. I did a skill guide. I did a shout out to Tales of Tamriel and Asteldian here. Basically for all the support you guys have given me. You know, no one does anything in a vacuum. And for me specifically, I wouldn't have got all this exposure and had all these things if it wasn't for you guys putting me on the show, everyone in the chat room pitching in, visiting the site, Asteldian for leaving comments. So, you know, the reason I always rant and rave about the community, it's because I wouldn't be doing the thing I love if it wasn't for you guys. So, you know, I appreciate it is what I'm saying. I don't want to get too sappy and emotional on you guys, but it was a big deal to me, you know, it really was. And that's why I was proud to have that on there, and you know, all my friends make fun of me about it, which is fine. I deserve it. But you know, this community's different. It's so different. And even the post when it was on the Elder Scrolls thing, there wasn't really any trolls. There was a couple people being meatballs, but no one really tore it up too bad. And I mean, that's not going to hurt my feelings anyways. But if it was Call of Duty, they would be like, this is the worst build ever. Oh my God, go kill yourself. You know, there's nothing like that going on here. I love it. And every time I log into the game, it just seems like it's like a world. It's not an MMO. It's not a game. Like, this is a living, breathing world. It doesn't have instances every single place. Like, I can travel from one place to the next to the next. It really feels like an alive environment. And now Kragorn has expanded. It's just so much fun to go questing there. Even doing the dailies these are not dailies if you've done them before. Critical Mass, that's like an hour-long quest. And that's the quality of that quest is not like your normal daily. My one complaint of Upper Kragorn, I wish there was some soloable stuff. Just because not all of us have a lot of friends on, or like if we work weird hours, or you know, we're not working 2 in the afternoon, you know, you're not going to get a whole lot of people to do Dragonstar Arena. So I wish there was something else that we could do solo. But I will wrap up the rant with thank you to everyone who has supported me. I will work extra hard because, you know, I know how much you guys like this sort of thing, and, you know, this is a community. We got to stick together and make it what we are. You know, like, I wasn't happy with the Department of Veteran Affairs as a veteran. So instead of just complaining about it and bitching about it, I'm doing something about it. Same thing with the game. You know, this is our game. We got to tell the developers what we want this game to be. We got to tell each other what we want this game to be. There's people spending their time making mods, doing podcasts, so you don't have to research. And it's just awesome to see this come together. Ran over.
Excellent. Yeah, yes, we do. We also want to thank you, Deltia, and, you know, Asteldian, and all the people who support our podcast, and, you know, for coming on. And it's a fantastic community. Our friend Kipster, he's in the chat now. He messaged after I sent out a tweet because we were invited to the Elder Scrolls Off the Record yesterday, and he, as soon as he saw that, he messaged on our Facebook page saying how it's just something special about this community that just brings, like, all of us together. Like, we're not, I guess, like you said, it doesn't feel like we're in competition with one another. It's not, oh, don't go see them, whatever, we're the best ones out there. We all work together. We like doing stuff together. We're here to promote the community as a whole, and it's just a great community to be a part of. You know, like, other games, the community it's toxic in a lot of them. It's like, oh, no, you don't go check out their guides or anything like this. They're terrible. You should only check out mine. That, you know, people tear down stuff. Here we all try to build each other up. It is probably hands down the best community out there. Like,
I really think so. I mean, even doing the 30 people plus in Mumble or whatever in TeamSpeak the other day, not one person got out of line. Not one person said any meatball thing. A couple people whispered me helpful tips. It was about community. It was about helping each other do something that people have a desire to do that they're kind of scared of. You know, if only, I know last rant here, but if only our society worked like this. You know, if only our society was this damn helpful, think about where we'd be.
It's true. It really is. It's one of the reasons why we keep doing these podcasts, this community. I don't think I've ever gotten a real negative review or a real negative anything about our podcast or anything we do. All we ever get is support. And not saying, like, we've got constructive criticism, stuff like that, and it's warranted, but we don't we don't log in feeling like we hate ourselves. Speaking of just random, and it's kind of off topic, not really. I remember reading an editorial by, a lot of you guys probably know him. He's the Cynical Brit. I'm sure you guys probably know him. He does a lot of game reviews, and he actually wrote a pretty long blog post about the toxic nature of the game community, going how he was talking about how when he started this, he did it because it was something that he loved, et cetera, and how the community reacts to some of his videos. Yes, he gets a lot of good stuff, but some things, like, he's like, I'm losing my hair and I'm only like 30 because I'm stressed out doing this all the time, because I wake up and I get death threat emails.
Wow.
Because of I wrote something about a game that someone else liked and people are telling me I should just go die. And he's like, I know I shouldn't let it get to me, but it does. And I know there's actually several developers who've been talking about doing a little campaign about getting the toxicity out of the game community, because developers aren't wanting to do it anymore because of all the crap they take from the community.
Not just the gaming community, just the internet in general.
Yeah, it is. It's toxic. You need a thick skin to put yourself out there.
Oh yeah, you do.
I mean, for anything, like, you're on the internet. Like, when I first did this, I think the very first post for episode 1, I posted up on Reddit, say, hey, we're a new podcast. I want constructive feedback. If you tell me we suck and don't give me a reason, I'm going to ignore you. But that was the mentality I had to have to go into this. Thankfully, I was pleasantly surprised. I got nothing but support. But I had to prepare myself mentally going, I'm probably going to get a lashing for this.
Yep.
And it's sad that we as a community have to think that way before we release anything.
Yeah.
Now, that's not this community. This is an amazing community, and I'm so happy for it.
Yeah.
And hopefully we maintain this.
I think we will. I mean, I like, and I'm maybe call me an elitist here, but I like the whole separation between the PC players and the console players. And not all console players are booger-eating Mountain Dew drinkers, even though I do both those things. But, you know, it's just, there's a difference. There really is. It'd be like saying there's a difference between the Marine Corps and the Army. There is. I'm sorry. Whether that's bad or good, it's just a different type of people. I'm glad where this game's headed. And I think once this gets released on consoles, it's going to be a mega hit. It will be a mega hit. It will be.
I agree.
As long as it stays from free to play, the community should stay good quality.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right, so that's going to be end of rant there, but I felt like we had to say that because this is a fantastic community.
Are all you guys ready to pack up your ovaries now and move on to the next topic?
Oh! Whoa!
Wow. We just got called out.
Pack up the ovaries. That was good.
And I thought we were getting ready for a group hug.
Yeah, well,
I was actually waiting for the group hug moment, like, oh gosh, am I the only man here?
No, we're gonna do a group hug.
Oh my god!
I want to be invited.
No,
I'm
you're
putting
not.
my tissue box away.
for you.
It's not fair.
All right, well, let's go ahead. Let's talk about our game time this week.
Okay.
Has anything changed on your character?
Crit surge.
Yeah, Crit Surge, I was able to change my morph.
Oh, you mean because of that awesome morph thing with update 4?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
that's pretty nice.
I was, able to do that. That was pretty amazing.
Nice.
So other than that, and I became a werewolf. I was finally able to hit max in vampire, so I became a werewolf.
And I do want to, I actually said I was going to do this, a special shout out to, hold on, I got to grab my phone here because I had to take a picture of it. Do some filler for me here.
I don't know what to fill with. I'm not good at on the spot.
Something. I got something.
Okay, let Deltia. Okay.
There, I did get a message about someone playing a Sork said that he wanted me to bring this up where he feels that he shouldn't have to play his Sork a specific way where he's using Blink all the time. Do you guys feel like the game really forces you to play a specific thing? Or you just get annihilated at veteran rank? Asteldian, you.
No. I have played with all sorts of crap during the veteran ranks. Even pre-nerf, I was having to run around with the bow, for God's sake, when I was leveling it up. So I think you can pretty much use whatever you want while you're leveling, especially now that they've changed the VR ranks. Now, you can't do really stupid things. You've got to have a semi-decent build. But for the most part, you can flip and change. I mean, everyone goes on about a Templar using Puncturing Sweep. and nothing else. Oh, that gets you all the veteran. I haven't touched that skill since I got to veteran rank. I used it once when I remorphed it into the punching sweep after the change, got it maxed, then buried it away and never used it again. So, no, I think you can pretty much use anything for the leveling. Now, end game experience is a whole different matter, but at least for the leveling process, you're pretty free to play as you want, just as promised, really.
Right. And Deltia, you and I were talking about this. Pretty much in every aspect of the game, except for the high-end PvE stuff, you can do what you want. Like, I don't feel weak or anything using any specific build that I'm using while questing or doing, PvP, etc. But like, there's just certain builds for like trials and stuff where I think you are kind of regulated in, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
It took me a while to find a good build, but I never felt that I was weak because I wasn't using a specific build. I just felt like I had to choose what worked for me, and I finally found it.
And I think a lot of it, there are some crud skills out there, which if you put them on your bar, like maybe one of them's not bad, but if you have a line of crud skills, then you won't be too bad. But as long as you pick a weapon, pick a specific number of abilities, and don't ignore your passives, you can do almost anything in the game up until the high-end stuff and be decent. All right, well, thanks for that filler. That was awesome. And this shout-out was to No Ordinary Man, who shouted out in chat in Riften that he was giving away a werewolf bite instead. Like 12 other people were saying they were selling, and he's like, "No, I'll give one away. I have one," and I was already a werewolf because Kipster lured me into a dark alley and violated me in the darkest sort of way. But Thace needed to be violated as well. And he was nice enough. I said, "Hey, do you mind waiting?" That she just poured it away. I said, "She'll be right back." He's like, "Absolutely, I'll wait." He just sat there and waited for her to take her slow butt out there. She had no idea where it was, so I had to get up and go, "Okay, it's right here. Do you see it?" He waited, and it was really nice that he was willing to, like when 20 other people were selling it, he's like, "Nope, I'll give it away." And that was nice. So
it was pretty interesting because the vampire bite was kind of creepy, the way that their mouth kind of unhinges and they just suck blood from the air. But the werewolf one, I was like mauled to the ground and I was covered in blood, and it was different and it was neat. I liked it a lot.
Molested doggy style.
So now I am a werewolf, and I haven't changed yet or anything because I just haven't felt the need to.
Okay. Well, speaking of, I'm also a werewolf, and I did put it on my bar, and as much as we bash on werewolf, like it does take a while, when you're in the werewolf form, it feels pretty powerful. Like, I noticed it felt powerful. Like, you're running around at like super speed, you're just slashing, and I think they made some changes that it bases off weapon damage now, which I think helped.
I really enjoy when you're in the werewolf form how when you're walking or particularly running, your footsteps sound like you weigh so much more. Like you're this gigantic beast of a creature. That was the first thing I noticed when I was transformed into a werewolf by her scene, and I thought that was pretty interesting.
It is neat. I'm having fun with it because I think we were, which we'll talk about a little later. But one of the things we did was we were going up this one hill, and it was surrounded by supernal dreamers. Like there were just a bunch of cultists, and I had werewolf up. So I told Ace, I'm like, hold on. As soon as we go, just follow me. I'm going on a killing spree. I started at the bottom of the hill, and I just started booking it up the hills, killing everything in the area. I didn't even stop the loot because I'm like, I only got a little bit of time. I got to kill everything while I'm in werewolf form. It was a lot of fun. I can see why people actually like it. But I know, like, Kipster gave it to me, which was awesome. But he had to get rid of it because apparently there's a lot of poison damage in the new trial. So.
Oh yeah, there's one rank you're not going to get past if you're a vampire or a werewolf, probably.
Yeah. So I think I might have been the last guy that he raped in a dark alley. So thanks, Kipster. Love you. All right, let's go ahead and move on a little bit about what we're doing questing. Like now, where we left off last week is we're still exploring around Stormhaven. We're actually almost done with it.
See, I would disagree. I would say we're only about halfway because we haven't even started exploring the city yet. We just reached the outskirts of the city.
Yeah, but the other side of the map is much smaller. Like if you look at it, it kind of tapers a little bit. So, you know. But again, this is our slow questing. This is what we do. We like even what we're doing now is we hit the city. I like to go around the entire city and talk to everyone. I go into every house. I loot everything. I talk to everyone just because they have neat little lore bits that I like to.
When he says he loots everything, he literally loots every single box, barrel, chest, drawer,
the cabinets
shelf,
up on the wall,
everything.
I
I
do.
pretty much stand there in the middle of the house with my hand in with my head in my hand, going, "Are you done yet?"
I do
God,
apologize to her like every 5 minutes. I'm sorry. Oh, look, more mud crab meat. I'm sorry. Ooh, salt. I'm sorry. Yeah, I do that. I really do. I'm stockpiling up on provisioning mats because come on. I also heard a rumor. I don't know if it's true, so put your tinfoil hats on that they may let us have both food and drink coming up in a later patch. So,
You know, us Nords like to drink.
That's true. So if they do let everyone just gets away with they don't use any of the drinks because really they're not as good as the pure stat because they're all regeneration stuff. But if this rumor turns out to be true and we can have both food and drink, I'll be stockpiled on grapes. I can make tons of wine and stuff that you can have both. If not, then oh well. But who knows? It's just a rumor, so I'm stockpiling. All right. Now, where we adventured is after, I guess this was right after the, Pariah Abbey and the Supernal Dreamers were attacking there. They want us to try to find the Grand Master, and they kind of made us go over towards this Moonlight Mall cave. And when we were it was kind of fun, because I think at this point in time, I was just now leveling my sword and shield. And we had to kill like 900 of the little scamps. That was a lot of fun. But when we made it inside the cave, we actually found the guy who is the head of the the spirit wardens, and he's actually part of a ritual where they're possessed by a Daedra. And we were given the option. Do you remember what the option was?
Oh yeah, the option was to kill him because he said, "Kill me and everything will be fixed." The other option was to go get one of the sleeping supernal dreamers and replace this orc. Obviously, we chose to replace the orc because why let the orc die when one of the supernal dreamers, who is a follower of Vermina, who's trying to kill everybody, can just take his place? It was the much better decision.
We kind of went anti-hero here. We're like, oh yeah, we're killing this guy. We're just force him down to make him the demon possess him, and then we killed it. That was a lot of fun. Then we actually got to go into, which I was kind of sad. It was neat, but how you jumped into Vermina's realm of Quagmire, but it was just like an underground cave looking thing. I really wish they had spent a little bit more time like they did for Meridia's colored rooms. Her Daedric realm was unique. Like you didn't see it anywhere else in the world. And Cold Harbor has a unique feel. I just kind of wish some of the other I guess even Hercine's realm kind of has a somewhat unique feel to it. It feels like a jungle land for hunting. But this one was just a cave. I really wish they would have done something a little bit more.
If you had looked at the cave, it was a mirrored version of the cave we had just come from, almost like it was a dream. I think that's what they were going for when they made it the cave.
I guess. But the way they describe Quagmire is it's like a swampy land of it would be neat if they took something like a swamp from Black Marsh, but then added a bunch of different eerie noises, like specters, and what would be really, really neat is this is how I would design it in my own head, or how I envision it, is scenes, as you're walking through, scenes from the world around you, scenes from your past and stuff portraying, because it's nightmares. It's supposed to be a land of nightmares. So you're walking through a dark bog. almost think about it like here's sad for all your Star Wars people. The Return of Jedi when he's in the bog area and the Darth Vader apparitions there. That's what I imagine Quagmire to be like, just like that. No, no one else agrees with that.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. No, that'd be pretty cool.
Like it's a swampy, but then that's his fear, his night. That's what Quagmire is supposed to represent. I wish they would have done a little bit more with it, but that's how I feel. Anyway, so we killed the guy in there and freed the Spirit Warden, and we started venturing down. This was a kind of fun. We stumbled across a watchtower called Cumberland's Watch, and we had to fight off a goblin raid, and it was kind of neat because this one guy, we met him outside. Do you remember what his name was?
I don't remember what his name was.
I don't know. He was a red guard, and he was kind of a jerk.
Someone in chat, Arcaneer, said Molag Vader.
Molag Vader. I'm fine with that. Molag Vader.
That's awesome.
Luke, I am your Daedric Prince. Yes.
Oh, wow.
I know. That's nerdy.
You're such a dork.
Be quiet. I like it. Quagmire. All right. But yeah, it was neat. This guy was like a jerk. He's like, tell us, yeah, you should just come up here and help us fight. You might as well be of some use. He's like a total... Well, I'm not going to say it.
Not just that, but he's like, I hate them, and you look like you could be useful. Just go slaughter all the goblins you can find. Just kill them all. Go mass murder goblin families and take their children. And that's pretty much what he was saying. He was making us feel like, oh, wow, okay, so these goblins are attacking for no apparent reason. Because the guy said, we have no idea why the goblins are attacking. They're just killing everybody, and it's not good, and we need help. Taking control. Go kill a whole bunch of goblins. So we go around and we're murdering goblins and we're trying to free this little area from whatever is going on. And when we go into a tower, we went into one of the towers and there was a guy laying there injured and he's like, we know why they're attacking. On the top of this tower is a totem that the guy who gave us the quest, he stole and put it up there so the goblins would attack so he could try and kill them all. But it's not working.
Oh, yeah. So the guy actually stole this. It's like a religious totem to these goblins. And all the goblins start running, and he was provoking them to attack so he could wipe them out. Unfortunately...
It backfired.
Yeah, he's not as good a fighter as he thought he was. And lost. And it was fantastic. Because then, once we finally do return the totem and free the watchtower, this guy who was arrested because he disobeyed orders... then runs off, and we are sent to go hunt him down. Of course, we're again met with a choice of, spoiler alert, you get to choose whether or not you can just pick up his rusty sword and say you killed him, or actually killed him. And I guess following the anti-hero that went before, I wasn't going to lie for him. I went and killed him. I had to.
Well, he could have had the choice to come back with us to be arrested and put on trial, but of course the bad guys never want that option.
Oh, no. Absolutely.
Yeah, I killed him.
They're going to die anyway. I killed him, yeah. Great. I guess the last thing we did, of course, one of the world bosses, which was fun. I went werewolf again. That was a blast. We went to Faringel's Landing, which is right below Wayrest. It's a little town right there, and we had to. This one was fun. I think I talked about it a little bit on Elder Scrolls Off the Record. I didn't want to talk about it too much about our weekend game because we do a big thing here, and when we get there, we find a man who says, you gotta help me. My wife has been kidnapped by these midnight, what were they? Midnight, I don't know.
The Midnight Traders?
Midnight something or another, I don't know. Well, midnight Mercs, that's what we'll call them for now. And he's like, I need you to help me get to her. So you had to sneak in. He's like, what I need you to do is I need you to go in and I need you to put poison, this poison in all the mead barrels around. They'll drink it and they'll pass out and then we'll be able to get to her. So we go ahead and we're going around, we're poisoning everything. When we're done, we go into this one house and we find, I guess, her Chamberlain or something like that. And he's like, what are you guys doing here? And we're like, well, we're trying to free the lady, the person who owns all this area. And, from bandits. And they're like, those aren't bandits. Those are her personal guard. It's like, oh. Uh-oh. Really? That sucks. So apparently the husband has been kicked out because he's threatened to kill her. Now he's after her again. And we pretty much just helped him, incapacitate all of her guards. So that was one of those uh-oh moments, kind of like you're sitting there going, oh, I don't know who would do that. Who would ever poison all those people? Not me, obviously. But, so then we had to go and we had to kill him, because that's what we did. We had to protect her, because he was in there trying to kill her. But we managed to make it in time, which was awesome. But that was a fun quest just because of the way the guy tells you. He's like, no, they're not bandits. Those are her personal bodyguards.
And then he says, I zoned off from this. I'm not sure if he said this. And then he says, well, at least she's safe because all of her guards are there. And then for a second, you're kind of stunned with, well, you see, we kind of poisoned them all. Oh, yeah, about that. And then you just feel really, really bad.
Yeah, major faux pas right there. That is bad. So yeah, that is our week in game. I think where we ended was now we are back in Wayrest, and now I have to explore all the city, and I think we have to meet with High King Emmerich. I think that's where we left off, is we're kind of following the I don't know.
So can I kill him for the pact?
We should be able to.
Do that.
We should be able to.
Yeah.
But so that's where we're continuing, and you guys can follow us again next week. All right, time for our next part of the show, which is Ace's favorite, and it's a dramatic reading. This is the final book of the Divines and Deities set. So next week you'll join us for another book series, which we have yet to find because Ace has not been able to get all of her Argonian books together.
I'm just going to gather nothing but Argonian books, and it's going to be a series on Argonians. That's all it's going to be.
I hope not. But yes, we will be starting a new series next week. And, well, this week it is the book Vivek and Minfala. So, Ace, go ahead. Take it away.
Who is Alm-Savi? Morrowind is holy country, and its gods are flesh and blood. Collectively, these gods are called the Tribunal, the Triune Alm-Savi, 3 deities exemplifying Dunmeri virtues. Almalexia is mercy, Vivek is mastery, and Sothasil is mystery. Vivek is easily the most popular of them all. Vivek is the most public, for he is the beloved warrior poet of the true people, paradoxically beautiful and bloody. Vivek is an artistic violence. Vivek is represented in temple literature and liturgy as one of the divine kings of Morrowind. He guards the sacred Valathi subcontinent of Vardenfell and stands guard over Red Mountain. He is part of the Holy Tribunal, a god of the New Temple, and an aspect of the blessed and righteous Alm-Savi. This explicit representation of Vivek, the guardian god king and warrior poet, is the one most accessible and familiar to Westerners. However, it is important to remember that Vivek is also known to the Dunmer as the transcendent evolution of the Daedra that anticipated him, Black Hands Mayfala, a foundation figure of the earliest Chimer. This darker side of Vivek does not appear in the popular literature and liturgy, but is instinctively understood and accepted by the Dunmer as an integral part of Vivek's divine aspect. A more complete appreciation of the complex nature of Vivek requires an understanding of the nature of Vivek's anticipation, Mayfala, and the darker themes represented by this Daedra Lord's modes and motivations. Who is Mayfala? Each of the 3 tribunes of the temple were represented in the dawn of Chimeri culture by their anticipations. These anticipations are known to the West as the sinister Daedra Lords Azure, Boethia, and Mayfala. In temple theology, however, Ashura is the anticipation of Sothasil, the mage lord of Alm-Savi. Boethia is the anticipation of Almalexia, Alm-Savi's mother and lady. Mayfala is the anticipation of Vivek. According to legend, under the guidance of these 3 Daedra lords, a discontented throng of Altmer transformed themselves into a new people and founded a new land. And while Boethia, the so-called Prince of Plots, provided the revolutionary methods needed to bring about this transformation, Mayfala was the shadowy implementer of these methods. As known in the West, Mayfala is the demon of murder, sex, and secrets. All of these themes contain subtle aspects and violent ones, assassination, genocide, courtship, orgy, tact, poetic truths. Mayfala is understood paradoxically to contain and integrate these contradictory themes. And all these subtle undercurrents and contradictions are present in the Dunmer concepts of Vivek, even if they are not explicitly described and explained in temple doctrine. The Dunmer do not envision Lord Vivek as a creature of murder, sex, and secrets. Rather, they conceive of Lord Vivek as benevolent king, guardian warrior, poet-artist. But at the same time, unconsciously, they accept the notion of darker, hidden currents beneath Vivek's benevolent aspects. For example, one of the most striking persistent myths associated with Vivek is the story that Vivek conspired with his co-rulers, Alexia and Sothasil, in the murder of Lord Nerevar, the greatest of Dunmer heroes and generals. The story is derived from Ashlander oral tradition, and is flatly contradicted by all temple traditions. Nonetheless, the tale is firmly established in the Dunmer imagination, as if to say, of course Vivek would never have conspired to murder Lord Nerevar, but it happened so long ago. Who can know the truth? The public face of Vivek is benign, sensitive, compassionate, and protective of his followers. At the same time, the Dunmer seem irrationally comfortable with the hidden aspects of Vivek, the darker components of violence, lust, and conspiracy associated with the more primitive and ruthless impulses of the Anticipations.
Huh. Murder, sex, and what? Secrets. Man, that's fascinating in a nighttime telly kind of way. Love it. Love it so much. Like, if anyone is actually interested in Vivek and anything like this, I encourage you to go to the Imperial Library and look up 36 Lessons of Vivek. There's some dark stuff in there. Like, apparently he had an orgy kind of thing with Molag Bal, and that's where a bunch of monsters spawn from. By the way, he is also a hermaphrodite. So he's both a male and female.
Well, aren't they all? Aren't all the Daedric that way?
The Daedra are, but no, like Vivek is. He's a
I don't know that.
Vivek is a hermaphrodite. And they make a lot of interesting analogies to Vivek's spear. Yeah, I'm going to let that sink in a little bit.
36 Shades of ESO. I like
it is. It's 50 Shades of ESO. If you read 36 Lessons of Vivek, it's 50 Shades of ESO. It is very interesting, and it's kind of cryptic.
I know where I'm going after the show.
It's a fascinating read. Yeah. So there you go. That was the end of our Divines and Deities, and actually that was an interesting book to actually end it on because of all of the, I don't know.
That was the perfect book to end it on.
I'm just really glad, like, I hope they explore this, and I'm really glad ESO got a mature rating, because it's too hard to explain Vivek in a teen rating game, because there's just some weird stuff going on with him. But he's awesome. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next section, which is our Guild Corner, where we go around and we get to talk about the different guilds we're in and kind of plug them. So, Deltia, you first.
Hard Contact. If you're looking for kind of a chill guild that does do endgame stuff, it doesn't have meetings, or you don't have to have a blood sample or a stool sample to join, it's probably for you. We do AD. Just note, you can be in the guild, but if we're doing Dragon Star Arena and some of the higher end content, we will take it a little more seriously, meaning, the cute, fluffy stamina builds probably aren't going to cut it. Other than that, if you want to come join and do PvP and stuff like that, we're more likely to have you. You can reach us at Deltia in game or at Grouchy, Grouchy.
Excellent. And you'll take me even if I do have a stamina build, just because.
We'll take you, but we're not going to take you in. You know what I mean?
That's not nice. I'm already part of your guild. Remember
I know.
I have
the East hit us over 50.
Yeah, that's true.
The East was the one who brought us over 50, so now we can have a fancy guild.
Yeah, but I think I brought you to 10 so you could get, like, your...
No, not as important. Not as important.
All right.
Yes!
I'm not...
I got it to 50. That's awesome. Right. I'm so excited. Where was my prize?
It's in the mail.
Yes.
It's in the mail. Nice. All right, Stelden, would you like to plug your guild?
Yeah, sure. For anyone who's in the EU and jealous you can't join Hard Contact, in case you're interested, you can join Crucio Sanctorum. It's just a guild myself and the wife run. It's only a small guild, mostly people we know from previous games, to be honest. But we've had a few new members we've pulled in, so we've got to know and run a load of dungeons with. So anyone who's on the EU server interested, we just like to have a laugh, chill out, do a bit of PvP, some dungeons, no commitments. So
No meetings, bro?
just feel free. No meetings, no big roleplay sessions, no nothing. And we'd probably even take a dirty stamina build into the end game.
Oh.
We're just silly like that.
Oh my god.
Looks like I'm going over to the EU side. Excellent.
These filthy
Awesome.
casuals. That was a joke. That was a joke.
Indeed. All right. I see. All right. Well, if anyone's interested in joining the Friends and Family Guild of Tales of Tamriel podcast, you can contact, that's Aggelos, Aggelos, or at Tier Eater, Teareater, in the game for an invite. Or just a guild that's a place for fans of the show. You can meet, mingle with the host, because we're all in there. And we do like to do some events from time to time. Speaking of, we are going to do another Explore Cyrodiil event.
Oh yeah, baby.
For the Ebonheart Pact. That's going to be Saturday. What is that? September 27th. So that's this coming Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to head on out. We're going to do all the stuff we can do. Delves, dolmens, hiding from Deltia. You know, those sort of things.
No, I'm not hiding. This is the
Oh,
perfect
this
chance
is-
to beat his face into the ground.
Oh, the
It's
Pink
going on the
Ranger
calendar.
showed up?
Yes.
All right. So Saturday, 9/27, 6 p.m. Eastern.
Which server?
If you have an Ebonheart Pact character and want to explore some Cyrodiil and do some of the ruins and delves and dolmens out there in Cyrodiil, stop on by. We'll have fun. All right.
Jealous. Which server you guys gonna go? You don't know yet, or?
That I'm not exactly sure. I think we're probably going to do the same one we did before, which is Bow of Shadows still around? I can't remember if that
I
one was
don't
removed.
think so. It's basically Hadris is like 7-day that AD owns. Zurastar, AD owns all of that, but it's dead. I don't know.
We'll probably do the 30-day campaign. One of the 30 days. Because
Okay.
that's where we... Yeah. I'll figure that out. If you have a question prior to that, just whisper me in game, and I'll let you know which one we're going to. Yeah. All right. So that is that section. We're going to move on to our next section, which is our iTunes reviews, emails, and all the stuff from the community. So thanks. Go ahead and read these iTunes reviews.
Great podcast with one complaint. Okay, complaint.
Yeah, I don't know.
5 stars by Sephiroth Sin. Great show and very informative. The hosts are friendly and fun people that make you look forward to listening every week. You feel like they're just a group of guildies or friends. My only complaints would be that there can be a lot of spoilers without warning. Granted, if someone starts talking about their gameplay, it should be expected. It would still be nice to have a spoiler warning before discussing big plot points about the quest. If spoilers bothered you, I'd listen with caution.
Thank you so much for that. And actually, if you've noticed, we've never once talked about the main quest line. Like, we refused to do it when we were doing the main quest line. Just because that's something that everyone sees. I think some people just skip some of the main quest, or some of the quests you go. But we never once talked about the main storyline. And we won't. Like, that's something I really don't want to do. I want people to experience the main quest line for themselves, and that we always try to keep that out of the show. But I will try to add spoiler warnings. So I think that's mostly directed at us because we do a lot of the quest stuff. And anytime we get near to a point where we're talking about spoilers, we'll do a spoiler tag just for you. All right, next up.
Templars need help. 5 stars from Parkman. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 7. Okay. Numbers. Oh, okay. Hey y'all, I already made an iTunes review, but I wanted to say one thing. I looked on the login announcements and saw a build called Lightning Tornado. I thought to myself, that sounds a lot like Deltia's build. So I looked to see if it was and started laughing as soon as I saw it was Deltia's build on the site. Especially after him always complaining about how all the builds they post aren't really that good. So congrats to you, Deltia. Love the show. Keep up the amazing work. And more guild events, please. I'd love to have more events because I missed all of them. It's just a request. And if you don't like the idea, that's fine, but I think it'd be nice. Thanks for all you guys do.
Your wish has been granted. Saturday, 9/27, explore Cyrodiil. There you go. As long as you're level 10, we'll bring you, because you have to be able to get into Cyrodiil. All right, we're going to move on to our email segment. We had 2 this week, and go ahead.
Okay. From Do Daharati. Dear Tales, I'm not sure what your email is, so I'm going to send it in here. First off, love the podcast. It's a good way to keep me entertained at work with the long hours. Now down to my question. Aggelos, you were mentioning there should be an extra bar for defensive stamina actions like blocking, stun lock, etc. However, I was looking through the Elder Scrolls Online on Reddit and found a good solution by Kandranos. He makes some good points as to what we should do instead of adding another stat bar. 1. Stamina abilities need to inherently cost less in terms of stamina. Zos is already modifying this and is changing the values, okay.
Is a copy, so.
Undercut reduced by 20%. 2. Stamina needs to regenerate slightly faster than Magicka overall. This should help make up for the fact that the stamina pool is used by global abilities, dodge roll, break free, etc. 3. Magicka abilities, like Impulse, need to cost more. 4. Abilities such as sprinting, break free, sneak, and roll dodge currently cost 1% of your max stamina. This value should be changed to a flat value. This allows people to have a clear advantage in terms of these abilities, who put points and emphasis into their stamina pool compared to those who don't. Which of these points do you agree with, and which of them do you not? And, before I go, these. Why hate the Khajiit? It's understandable that you don't understand where they are coming from since you haven't played the Dominion yet. But the Khajiit have a very similar situation to the Argonians. They were both enslaved by the elves. I won't get into too much detail to spoil anything for you, but once you play on the Dominion, I'm sure you will start to warm up to the Khajiit, especially when you meet Raz. He's my favorite. And Deltia, sorry I couldn't make it to the PvP event. I haven't even left Oradon yet. Keep up the good work, guys. Can't wait to listen in to the next episode.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for the email. Let's go over this a little bit. Yeah. He did list some pretty neat stuff, and like these things would definitely help with stamina abilities, but where does it break a balance point where when adding these in, does it become so much that you just do a complete flip? That now magic is not used at all, stamina is not. And also, there still comes up to the ability of, if you're doing damage, I know I kind of tunnel vision, it's not the best thing. Delty, I'm sure you do as well. Anyone who casts, you blow all of your damage abilities until you're out of your resource. Well, what happens if they drop something you have to dodge out of at that time? Like even reducing all this stuff, you'll eventually run out of stamina. And I mean, yes, they need to make it so that if you do run out of stuff that, you can't just sit here and like dodge infinitely, those things like that. But it's still a fact of, it's not even double dipping, it's not even triple dipping. It's like, I don't know.
Well, that sounds to me more like you need to learn a bit of self-control and keep it in your pants for a few minutes and keep your stamina going, man.
Wow.
Spoozy all in one go.
No, I see. All right. Well, a little bit of self-control there. All right. Delty, what do you feel?
Well, I think you had a great point that you don't want to, if the ship, you don't want to tip it one side over too much. The boundary is right in the middle. I think stamina right now is fine. You don't have to have heavy attacks or whatever return stamina, because if you keep doing these things, everyone's going to switch to stamina. I think honestly, if you kept stamina the way it is and just made a third bar for those type of things, not including Bach, it would really fix a lot of the problems. But there has to be a lot of testing. I mean, this game inherently has a different resource pool than most, so it's a little weird as far as how that works. It's just stamina doesn't work very good. I mean, the real problem too is, what are your class abilities? They're all magic. Why not make the class abilities represent what they do? Like a killer's blade. I'm 4 meters away from the target. That's using magic? I mean, make the ones that are melee abilities actually go off of weapon damage. Then it'd be much more balanced as far as your class abilities, but when every single class ability in the game, every single mage's ability in the game, nearly every single ability,
even the Fighters Guild,
some of them, yeah, but most of them are stamina. But you're talking about 90% of the abilities in the game are magic. Well, duh. What's everyone going to focus on? Magic. That's what you use. That's what needs to be changed, I think, too, or addressed. I don't think there's any one perfect solution, but a combination of what we've talked about might be the best thing for it.
I agree. Asteldian, how about you?
Personally, I just moved Break Free as a magical ability, and also that would include breaking out of things like talons as well. I think that then you've got blocking and dodge and rolling, which is part of your stamina, and Magicka breaks things because if you're being stunned, it's probably a mental strength thing to break out of it. So why not use your Magicka? Even if you're being bashed in the face, your own mental, it's your strength of will which pushes you through. So there's nothing wrong. You could explain why your Magicka is being used to break out of these things because it's your willpower. So you break free using your Magicka, you block and you dodge using your stamina.
And I think that is something we talked about before.
That's a good point.
It was the fact that everything is in stamina and nothing's in Magicka. Magic is really only used for your abilities. So yeah, if they were to split it up, that would at least, like you said, put a little bit more emphasis on Magicka going, well, if I need to break out of stuff, I'm not just all wasting on stamina. Because I think somebody was talking to me on Reddit about this, and they're like, well, what is the difference? I'm like, well, it's still a cost value of things. Like, essentially, in terms of defensive abilities, magic is free. Like, it doesn't cost anything. Like, if your money, you just use it, it doesn't cost anything. Even if they reduce the cost of stamina, it's like, yeah, stamina's $5. Well, we'll still reduce it to $3. You're still paying $3. Even if you reduce it, you're still paying extra for your defensive where Magicka has no cost.
And there's no way to get it back. There's no way to get it back. There's no equilibrium for stamina, whether it's health or magic. I mean, even the Sork's ability, I think, needs to be nerfed. Dark Exchange, they're the only one that can channel stamina and get health and magicka back. Come on. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So you're saying there needs to be an ability where stamina users can channel through Magicka to gain health and stamina back?
That would be great.
Well, I wouldn't say health. I wouldn't say health too, because that's pretty overpowered, but yeah, I think stamina for Magicka, yeah. And I would think change equilibrium instead of health to be stamina. So it's fair. I think that would be a real good change. Make the stupid 4th Fighter Guild ability that no one uses, make that the ability that changes it. Just like equilibrium. Change that dang ability.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of different ways that this can be fixed, but they have to tread carefully because if you go any one way other than adding another bar, which was one thing we just thought would be the most simple, where you just removed all the defensive abilities into a bar that is the same for everybody, and other than blocking, of course, because that's a stamina, that's fine, and the other guys don't use much anyway, but all the other stuff moving into a defensive bar then frees up stamina and Magicka for what you need to use them for, which is a resource for your damage or your, that kind of stuff. That would bring builds a little bit more into a, equilibrium a little bit.
Yeah, but I hate a third bar.
It's not that.
I hate in Guild Wars 2. It really annoyed me. I mean, maybe it's because it's like you limit to 2 rolls and that was it. I suppose if they did it a better way, it might be all right.
Well, that's where if they essentially copied the stamina bar and it was a person, it would suck away just like it does the stamina bar. It would just be another resource that doesn't eat into your damage. It's just like, I dodge. Well, it used a percentage of my third bar, my secondary.
Yeah, but the problem with that will be, presumably you can pump it up with enchants or whatever, so you're going to have to give up some of your stamina to keep that bar nice and healthy. And if you're melee, you're going to need that bar a lot more than a ranged guy, so you're still going to get that issue where casters just think, sod it, I'll leave the bar with the default value. Whereas the stamina melee guy is like, well, I need to kind of split between my stamina and making sure I've got enough of this resource to roll around out the AoE, which the damn ranged guys don't have to care about. So you end up with the same sort of situation occurring again.
Unless they don't allow you to buff it, and it just has a percentage. True, yeah. Like dodging uses, 25% of your bar, and CC break uses 25% of your bar. Stamina uses 1% of your bar every second. Something along those lines, where it's just a flat rate that uses it no matter what. But they should make it also restore very slowly. Like when you're in battle, it should restore insanely slowly. That way, you have to think about it a little bit. It shouldn't restore as fast. But anyway. All right, we're going to go ahead and move into the next email here. Go ahead.
First off, I'd like to say that Arcaneer and I have created a new Daedric Prince. who is my arch enemy. His name is Numbagar Matho, and he is the Dajic Prince of Numbers.
Nice.
Numbagar Matho. That is his name. All right, next one is by Spockster. Hi, I read your post about the Hand of Justice with great interest. I'm pretty much trying to do the same thing, creating a maximum survivability Templar with some damage capabilities that lets me solo everything except group dungeons and trials, obviously. What I find most interesting is your choice of Brawler over Carve. I'm currently still running Carve since I still need to get Dawnbreaker to 4, but I'm considering to switch the morph afterwards. I can already do Cyrodiil Dolmens by myself, but only if things don't get out of hand. One of the weaknesses of my current build is that Blazing Shield runs out too quickly when the mobs do reasonable damage, so that I need too much time recasting it and sometimes lose control over the mobs. Brawler could give me that extra bit of protection that allows me to keep control. Since we're trying to achieve the same thing, I obviously have a few questions.
All right. And I actually just noticed how I said, let's see here, I put it in the notes, but I didn't realize there was one question above it. They stop here so we can ask the questions.
Okay.
I just went that wrong. Do you want to read the questions?
Sure.
Yeah, we'll start one at a time.
Okay. How do you get your health up to 3k without PvP buffs? Deltia's Harvester has the 10% from the Imperial passive, and in his video, he has the Emperorship buff. I am currently only at roughly 2.4k with 49 points in health and a buff food at VR7. You've got the bonus from the Death's Wind set. I use Hundings currently, but it's only 220 if I remember correctly. Could you list all your individual health sources? I'm curious to see what I am overlooking.
All right, Asteldian, what do you think there?
Yeah, I'm actually just going to relog into the character to double check. But for the health, that was all part of the reason why I've gone with some unusual gears. Now, Death's Wind has 2 separate items to give health. So item 2 and 4, you get 131 health, I think, at rank 12. So you get that twice, so that gives you 260 odd health. I then went with the Twilight's Embrace because that also gives me another 131 health as a 2-part bonus. And then I wore the Rings of the Unassailable because they also have a 2-part bonus giving 130 health as well, or 116 health. And all the jewelry is also robust, so that gives you the health. I'm not actually a fan of that, but that's kind of what you have to do with the Unassailable, unfortunately. So that's where I get most of my health. Of course, my shield also is infused with health on it. And that should pretty much hit you at the 3k mark when you're at level rank 12, I believe. In fact, I'm on 3,167 to be exact.
Oh,
and
nice.
That's what's with 4 in health.
Nice. All right.
Next question? Okay. How do you do damage? You mentioned doing AoE damage of 1 to 2k. How is that measured? My combat analytics attests me a DPS rating of 200 to 300, and as far as I can tell, you're doing pretty much the same thing as me, mostly Blazing Shield and light heavy attacks. If at all, with you using Brawler rather than Carve, you might even do less damage because I get more ultimates out.
Well, using Brawler, because the thing about Carve is, yeah, you get more ultimate, but because I'm using it in a tank situation, my ultimate is the Empowering Sweep, because that gives me a reduction in damage. That thing goes up so fast that the bonus from Carve isn't really that necessary, because I'm always hitting that as fast as I can anyway. It's just constantly up. So the reason why I do that sort of damage, I don't know, I just weave a light attack in between every Brawler, and then another light attack between putting on my Blazing Shield. Obviously, one of the reasons I went for Brawler is for the defensive side, but you've also got to bear in mind, Blazing Shield doesn't actually care what shield is being damaged when it does its damage. So if I put a Brawler shield of 600, that will get attributed to my Blazing Shield when it procs. So when that thing bursts, it will account my Brawler shield stacked onto my Blazing Shield, so I can do up to 1500 damage as an AoE from the Blazing Shield bursting, because of Brawler being stacked with it.
This brings me to my next question. How is Werewolf's Blood Rage working out? Is it worth it? Have you compared it against Carve? The tooltip is rather unspecific, that's why I'm asking. Also, I'm not certain how taking damage qualifies. With shields up, you're not technically taking much damage, so it may yield less ultimate than Carve.
Yeah, it does yield less ultimate than Carve. However, even though you've got a shield up, in a veteran dungeon, you're still going to be taking damage because that thing will burst very quickly, and then you'll be taking a bit of damage. So every 2 seconds, you get the 5 ultimate. I think you rarely ever miss out on gaining that. But then, to be honest, I only have the werewolf up on my sword and shield, so that's usually non-AoEing anyway, so Carve wouldn't be much use at that point because I'm boss fighting and just building up using the werewolf ultimate before flipping over to my other bar to actually use my actual AoE ultimate or Nova, or even sometimes my practiced incantation.
Have you considered trading werewolf in for vampirism? It seemed to work out great. In Deltia's terms of survivability. In order to be able to use it, Carve may be necessary though. So essentially it might mean trading in shielding for healing, which I wouldn't prefer, because it is usually more efficient not to take damage in the first place. On the other hand, you get the additional Reagan and damage mitigation passives from vampirism, which will help in terms of survivability. As an alternative source of ultimate, I am currently also testing out to harvest ultimate via the Dawn's Wrath passive by adding Solar Barrage to my rotation. That might be an option, but I'm not convinced yet. The ultimate game comes from activation, not from hits, so it does not scale with the number of mobs. Also, it costs magicka, reducing my pool for Blazing Shield. My spell damage is only at 90, so it doesn't do incredible amounts of damage, and I am not yet sure how useful the plus weapon spell power can really be.
Yeah, I fiddle around with Soul Barrage. You do not have the magicka to sustain using that and using the Blazing Shield. I am literally popping that Blazing Shield every couple of seconds, and that goes through my magicka very quickly. So trying to play around Solar Barrage, I wouldn't recommend it. As for the Vampire, yeah, I was a rank 10 Vampire for a while, and Devouring Swarm is undeniably awesome. And against Trash, yep, Carving and Devouring Swarm, without a doubt you will Ruffle Stomp them, and you would get higher DPS by going that way. However, I do feel you are giving up quite a lot of survivability. Bear in mind you are still supposed to be the tank as your number one concern, so even though if anything goes wrong, you get hit by a fire spell, you're going to go down fast. Frankly, as a tank, I just wasn't willing to take the vampire fire damage. Every mob in this game, it seems they were breastfed fireball spells, so you're going to face it all the time, and it's just not worth the extra pressure on the healer. You already made some defensive sacrifices to be a semi-DPS, semi-tank type build. Going vampire and taking extra fire damage, you're just asking for your healer to slap you.
Excellent.
Anyway, a lot of questions, but this build is really my main ESO project at the moment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Best, Spockster. P.S. I am also on the EU server at Spockster, which is at SPOQSTER. So feel free to say hi.
Well, there you go, Stellan. I do appreciate you coming on the build or on the show and talking about your build, because when I got this email, I told Denise, like, can I get Stellan on the show? Because I want to feature this email, but it's all about his build. I think it'd be great if he could just answer these questions. So thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure you've made his day. He'll get to listen and hear all your thoughts on that. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for bringing me back on.
Anytime. We love having you on. Well, unfortunately, no. Now it's our final thoughts, and it's part of the show we don't like because we have to stop. But all right, let's go around the corner here. We'll go and ask question, or not ask question. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Final thoughts for the show, where people can find you, in-game, out-of-game, whatever you want to give. Face, why don't you go first?
Okay. I'm sad to see this collection of books go, but we ended on a great book. It was an amazing show, especially since I now have an arch nemesis, Daedric Prince. Where is his name? I forget his name. Oh, there he is. Numbagar Motho. And apparently his cult is called the Mathic Engineer.
Wow.
Yes. It's a hot topic in the chat.
You do realize if you manage to slay this Daedric Prince, how it normally works is then you become that Daedric Prince, so you would become the Daedric Prince of Math.
I would essentially just lose my mind.
Probably.
Yeah. I wouldn't even be able to attack him. He would just render me completely useless. I'd be like a bubbling, balling ball of ballingness.
Ballingness.
So
That's
what would
awesome.
change? Oh, burn.
That was for the ovaries comment earlier.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Nice. All right. Next up, Asteldian. Why don't you tell us a little bit like where they can find you, final thoughts for the show, all that.
Yeah, sure. You can find me at Asteldian. That's Asteldian. As I said earlier, I run the Christian Sanctorum Guild, so if you want to join, just send me a mail. I'm also on Twitter under the same name. I'm not the most active Twitter user, but I do occasionally send twits, as they used to like to say.
Twits.
As final thoughts, it was just great being on the show again. It was nice to get a comment about the build I put up, so if anyone else ever has any questions, please feel free to ask them, either via the emails or leaving comments. Always appreciate it.
If you do leave emails, it will probably get Asteldian on the show more, so I don't know which you would prefer. Maybe he just wants you to talk to him, and I don't know. It's up to you. But awesome. And Deltia, it's time for your final thoughts, where people can find you, and here's your reminder.
Oh, the reminder. Okay. Well, first off, let me pack up my ovaries. No.
Maybe that should be the title of this show, Packing Up Our Ovaries.
Oh my God. Deltia cries on screen. No, it was really good. Just really liking the game, the progression of the game. It's starting to fill in, really. It takes a MMO 1 year to start really getting that feel that, it's there. And you have options to do what you want to do. One thing I was going to ask, first off, you can find me in game at Deltia, Deltia. Deltiasgaming.com is where I'm putting out all my guides. And speaking of guides, we did a poll to see what people are looking for. It was pretty curious, the results. It was heavily based on PvP. Those results aren't over yet, but we'll be doing that. Also, a lot of people wanted a leveling guide, seeing how fast I level and stuff. People are wondering how I'm doing it. So I'm going to come out with that. And then also I do focus on a lot of DPS stuff, not really a lot of healing stuff. So I'm going to make a build, not class specific, but just a healing build that almost anyone can use, regardless of your class. So I'm not going to forget you healers out there, even though I hate healing. With that being said, I'm getting some new writers on the show that have particular interest in certain things, whether it be PvP or crafting or just sharing their experience. If someone in the audience or listening to this wants to write with basically no commitment, I can't pay anything, but you're interested in kind of helping out the community, doing some of the things that we all do, give me a shout out. Give me an email, info@deltiasgaming.com. We'll talk more. But I'm always looking for more people that want to help me with the site as it gets bigger and bigger. So, that being said, when in doubt, block.
Nice. When in doubt, block. Awesome. Okay, I guess it's my turn for final thoughts. I do want to thank all my co-hosts for joining me this evening. As always, you guys are fantastic. It is. I love having the show with you guys. It's so much fun. You can find me on Twitter. I don't normally give this out because I keep forgetting, but I do have a Twitter for like my personal rantings and all that stuff, and that is at Aggelos, Aggelos _WOF. That is my personal one. You can see me there. I often just rant about everything, mostly ESO, but it's good rants because I love ESO. But yeah, so there's that. You can find me in-game at Aggelos, Aggelos. Say hi. Add me to friends list. Anything you want to do, talk to me. Tell me if you have an idea. Here's an idea. If you have an idea for something you would like us to talk about on the show, I'm always open to more suggestions for discussion topics because sometimes it's hard to find things for us to talk about other than just the game news. I like to have a discussion topic in here that we can kind of theorize about and just kind of, see what we can come up with. So if you have any ideas you'd like to hear us talk about, send them to us. Let us know. Update 4 is awesome. I need Nern honed stuff, so send me it. Just kidding. Not really. Send it to me. I need to craft stuff. Yes, and that's it. So I do want to thank everyone for listening to the podcast. If you wish to help support the podcast, feel free to donate via the PayPal link on the website. If you wish to contact us with questions, comments, criticisms, the website for the show is talesoftamriel.com, or you can email the show at podcast@talesoftamriel.com. As a reminder, you can also do the About section on the website. Some people don't really know where to go, but if you send an email there, it does go to the same place. You can follow the show on Twitter at Tales of Tamriel, Facebook at facebook.com/Tales of Tamriel podcast. Also, feel free to rate and subscribe to us via iTunes, and also follow us on YouTube. We're getting near to, I think, like 100 users, which is pretty awesome. That's youtube.com/Tales of Tamriel. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you enjoyed this episode. Have a good night, everybody.